Imagine stepping into a Formula One car and feeling it morph beneath you, every corner demanding a different language you can't speak. That was Lewis Hamilton's reality in Hungary, and the aftermath has shaken Ferrari's inner walls. This wasn't supposed to happen here. The Hungaroring is more than a circuit for Hamilton. It's his proving ground, a place where his victories have been carved into legend. But instead of rewriting history, he was forced to wrestle with a machine that refused to respond. From the opening laps of qualifying, his frustration seeped through every radio call. Subtle adjustments, desperate questions, yet the answers never came. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc seemed to glide over the same asphalt as if the track had been designed for him. In the garage, puzzled engineers stared at streams of telemetry that made no sense. Two identical cars, yet two entirely different performances. The contrast wasn't measured in lap times. It was a statement about control, trust, and whether Hamilton's voice still shapes the team's future. When the clock stopped in Q2, the numbers told a cruel story. Hamilton was out by 15 thousandths, the blink of an eye in racing terms, yet a chasm in meaning. For Leclerc, it was pole position. For Hamilton, it was his worst Hungarian qualifying in over a decade. The paddock expected disappointment. What they didn't expect was the seven-time world champion breaking Ferrari's unspoken code. Facing the media, he dropped the kind of line no driver in red dares to voice. Maybe Ferrari needs another driver. Today, I was absolutely useless. No smiles, no deflection, just a blunt self-indictment that landed like a thunderclap. Inside Maranello, the reaction was immediate. Meetings were called before the tires had cooled, and the celebration over Leclerc's pole dissolved into damage control. This wasn't a driver blaming bad luck. It was a leader signaling a fracture in the bond between man and machine. And in a sport where confidence is currency, Ferrari had just watched one of the richest accounts in the grid run dry in public. Behind closed garage doors, the celebration was over. Ferrari's technical team began a forensic teardown of the weekend, hunting for a flaw too big to ignore. The telemetry wasn't just unusual, it was alarming. Side-by-side overlays of Hamilton's and Leclerc's laps revealed something no setup tweak could fix. The SF-25 was behaving like two entirely different machines depending on the driver. In Hamilton's hands, steering inputs triggered unpredictable responses. Razor sharp in one corner, sluggish in the next. Brake balance shifted without warning. Traction control, instead of calming the rear, sometimes fed instability back into the chassis. And as track temperatures climbed, the disconnect grew worse. Engineers traced anomalies through the suspension and brake-by-wire systems, but the pattern refused to align with normal variables like tire wear or aero load. For Leclerc, the same car delivered precision and stability. For Hamilton, it was like playing an instrument that slipped out of tune mid-song. The question wasn't whether something was wrong, it was why it only punished one side of the garage. The deeper Ferrari dug, the clearer the pattern became, and it pointed back to a single change. Since Belgium, the SF-25 had been running an updated rear suspension system, hailed internally as a breakthrough. For Leclerc, it was exactly that: more traction on corner exit, tighter control over ride height changes, a platform that let him attack the apex with surgical aggression. But when engineers mapped Hamilton's driving style onto the same system, the data turned hostile. His smoother, progressive inputs, designed to preserve tires and maintain balance, clashed with the suspension's reactive calibration. Instead of stability, he got mid-corner weight shifts, rear-end flicks, and moments of hesitation that shattered confidence. This wasn't about talent or motivation. It was a mechanical personality clash. Whether by design or by habit, the car had been evolving to serve Leclerc's strengths. And for Hamilton, that meant fighting not just an opponent on track, but the very DNA of the machine he was supposed to master. Inside Maranello, the truth was uncomfortable. Leclerc had spent years shaping the Ferrari's development path, his feedback woven into every aerodynamic tweak and mechanical adjustment since the SF-23 era. The SF-25's character, aggressive on entry, quick to rotate, demanding in correction, was an extension of his style. For him, the new suspension was a precision tool. For Hamilton, it was a trap. Each lap felt like navigating shifting ground, never sure when the rear would hold or brake. In private, some engineers admitted what no press release ever would. The car was optimized for one driver and only one. It wasn't deliberate, sabotage, but the result was the same: a binary machine that thrived under Leclerc and resisted Hamilton's touch. For a driver who builds performance on connection and predictability, this wasn't a disadvantage, it was a competitive sentence. And as the Hungarian weekend closed, that sentence was starting to feel permanent unless something fundamental changed. The crisis now stretched beyond lap times and telemetry graphs. This was about identity, about who Ferrari was building its future around. In the data room, the calibration sheets told one story. In the paddock, the body language told another. Leclerc stood as the natural extension of the car's design, a driver in perfect sync with the machine. Hamilton, meanwhile, was locked in a silent duel with it, each race a battle to decode its behavior. The fear among some inside the team was unspoken but real, that the gap wasn't just technical but political. Development resources, simulator time, even the subconscious choices of engineers could subtly tilt towards the known quantity, the driver they'd worked with for years. For a newcomer, even one with 7 world titles, that imbalance could be fatal to influence. And if the hierarchy was already forming around Leclerc, the SF-25 was more than a car. It was a declaration of allegiance, etched in carbon fiber. Hungary was supposed to be another step in Ferrari's climb back to glory. Instead, it became a public reminder that two drivers were living in two different realities. For Hamilton, the weekend stripped away the last illusions. This wasn't about one bad setup day or a misjudged strategy call, it was structural. And yet the most dangerous question still hung in the air, unspoken in official briefings, but whispered in corridors. Who is this car truly being built for? Every decision in F1, from aero updates to brake mapping, has a beneficiary. In this case, the beneficiary's driving style matched the SF-25's evolution perfectly, and it wasn't Hamilton's. The team now faced a decision that went beyond performance gains. Keep refining a car that fits one driver like a tailored suit, or reshape it to embrace two completely different approaches. Either choice would carry consequences that could redefine Ferrari's trajectory for the rest of the season and beyond. The Hungarian Grand Prix will be remembered for more than Leclerc's pole. It will be the weekend when Hamilton's words lit up every alarm in Maranello. His blunt self-assessment wasn't just a moment of frustration. It was a warning flare over a structural imbalance that could sink Ferrari's most ambitious project in years. The SF-25 has proven it can win in the right hands, but F1 doesn't crown half teams. If a car only thrives under one style, the second seat becomes dead weight, no matter who's in it. And when that second seat belongs to a 7-time world champion, the cost isn't measured just in points, but in credibility. The next races will answer a question no one wants to ask out loud. Will Ferrari adapt to Hamilton, or will they double down on Leclerc's blueprint? The civil war inside the Red Garage is no longer a theory. It's written in data, in body language, and in silence. If you believe Hamilton's fight is Ferrari's fight, drop #StandWithLewis in the comments and let them know the world is watching.